Oh, wow. Very scary. Alone in a wheat field at night. Nothing but our flashlight to guide us. I immediately love the style. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to the demo for RUNT. Oh, very cool. This is, as you see down here, this is published by DreadX, which is a collection of some really talented developers, and they have their hands in a bunch of different indie horror projects. They also do the DreadX collection, which many of you know. That's something that will come to the channel eventually. The DreadX collection being a game within a game, where you have to play several different games, and then there's an overarching game as well. How do I describe this? It takes place in a mansion, and you have to find keys via doing tasks within the mansion in order to unlock VHSs that play as the game itself. So, game within a game, really cool concept. They have, like I said, they publish a bunch of indie games and compilations, collections, etc. Some of which are things like Squirrel Stapler. So I saw this, and I thought it was really neat. And I figured we would check it out on the channel. So in RUNT, you take place as the 19-year-old youngest of 5 brothers, right? Big shout out to the movie Four Brothers with Marky Mark. It's a great movie. And kind of made me think of this at surface level. So you have these 4 brothers, and you were or 5 brothers, you being the youngest. And you live in a desolate farming community ran by a former cult, where your parents one of your parents called themselves the Mouth of God. That's pretty horrific. This is a self-described dark Gothic puzzle-esque game, point-and-click adventure. A lot of this art is not only handcrafted good art, but it's also taken from photography from the dev themselves, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. So I butchered the description of this. Let's go ahead and start a new game. Within this game, there are depictions of physical and emotional abuse, animal death, gore, blood, body horror, verbal homophobia, verbal misogyny, and verbal sexism. There are descriptions of physical and emotional abuse, suicidal thoughts, animal death, gore, bloody body horror, religious trauma, homophobia, misogyny, sexism, pregnancy, and fratricide. Any opinions provided by characters in the game do not reflect those of the developer and publisher of RUNT. Okay, if you have a problem with any of that stuff, and that's something that you just can't handle, there is the warning. And I'll give you about 5 seconds before we start. Alright, let us start. One thing that got me about this is that it is a pseudo-detective game. Hold down spacebar to fast forward through dialogue. Dialogue choices cannot be skipped. Okay, so no speed running. I don't know how many times I've written this. I feel like I'm running out of pages. But each time I think about what happened that week, I remember more and more until it becomes this big puzzle of details that just don't fit right. I'm going to start over, right from the beginning. My name is RUNT. Me and my brothers live out near Skipclaw on the perimeter, right where the land meets the forest. There are 5 of us. Hunter, Tanner, Carver, Fisher, and me. That's really cool. I like the, Hunter... Okay, first and foremost, this is what drew me into this in the beginning when I checked this out for the first time. It's the name matching the physical description of the character. So, like, Hunter, for example, looks like he's carrying a rifle and clad in a ghillie suit, whereas Carver looks like he may be carrying a blade of some sort. I just thought that was really neat. I haven't looked at any art or any spoilers or anything as per usual, but I just wanted to go ahead and point out this description or these descriptors, how cool I think that is, that the names match. Anyways, I was 9 when it all happened. All I ever heard was that the big power station over in Grenshaw blew up, and when the smoke filled the air, it never left. Okay? All connections and wired stuff like that never got up and running again. It's black and gray every day since the power station blew up. It's black and gray everywhere as far as anyone knows. The stars don't even show at night. We almost starved the first year. Nobody ever came for us out here in Skipclaw. No army, no government, and food won't grow easy in a world like this. Animals don't like it too much neither. There's a rift in the world now. A crack in reality. Dad would have known what to do. He always said there was a war out there. That's why he was hard on us. There was going to be a war someday between the righteous and the unrighteous. A war for our souls. Dad was doing his best. Dad always said he was a righteous man in a world full of sickness and perversion. He preached a while down south and until most of his flock turned away from the truth God had given him. Let's see, a vague depiction of maybe a chair. I can't even decipher that. It was too hard for him, I guess. God demands a lot. He demands a lot so he can give a lot. And Dad was the mouth of God. He could whip a crowd into a frenzy like nothing, crying and dropping to the floor and speaking in tongues the way God wanted him to show him that he was there and he was real, and Dad was the mouth of God. It was too much for those of little faith. Dad left, taking a bit of the land on the outskirts of Skipclaw, where he was going to prepare us for the war in the end of time. Yeah. Started saying we didn't need the town. We were better off without the world. And chickens? Georgie and Nanny the chicken? He said evil came in through the radio and the TV stations, and the bags of chicken feed and the starter potatoes and the seeds and all the friends we'd made. All we really needed was each other and our faith. If things were hard, God wanted them to be hard. If we were unhappy, it's because we weren't right with God, because we had tainted the earth with our sins. Dad did what he could, but he wasn't trained to run our little outpost at the edge of the wilderness. He had been a juvie warden during seminary. He picked up a few things, knew a few guys who built us a bunker and filled it with enough rations to keep us going for a few years. Everything else we had was books, copies and copies and copies of Dad's teachings he had printed on his own dime. His own dime, he used to say, red in the face because no one wanted them, because no one was ready to open their hearts to God enough to buy one. Those were the first things I ever learned to read. I didn't even know picture books were a thing till I was too old to read them. We failed Dad, all of us, and he punished us the way you'd punish a grown man. We starved and froze and dried out in the heat. We slept short hours, up at the crack of dawn, till so late in the night you couldn't stand on your own 2 feet anymore. No matter how tired or thin we got, we did our work. We had to survive. Survive the tests. The never-ending tests. And then Dad got sick. He had a disease whose name I think Hunter knows, but I forgot. He needed shots. When the world went up in a bunch of black smoke, all the medicine went with it. Not that Dad believed in any of it before. He couldn't really ever trust what the government was doing. But that medicine he needed, somehow he found some, and he took it religiously. And when we ran out, that was it. One day he was alive, and one day he wasn't. He died after years of wasting away, right when he was needed most. when the world, with its apocalypse, proved him right. Of course, we had to go back into the town then. We needed them. They needed us too, it seemed. Hunter fixed it all up. 5 of us strong boys with enough guns and ammo for a small army became the army of Skipclaw. We patrolled, we policed, we hunted, and we maintained the perimeter. Nobody comes and goes without Hunter knowing about it. No one goes out at night without Hunter knowing about it. Nobody so much as sneezed without Hunter's permission. Hunter's word was law. The whole town was ours, and it thrived as best as it could under the unbearable weight of an endless blackened sky. Would Dad be proud? Guess it doesn't matter now. Dad was gone. Mom died giving birth to me. None of us knew what to feel. We were on our own. It was 5 years to the day of his death when everything changed. All because of what we saw in the church. Carver says, "Runt, Runt, get up. You better be moving by the time I get there." Okie dokie. Very cool. Get up. Quit hiding. Carver stood over me. I couldn't see his face, but just knew he was sneering at me. I'm up. Scribbling in your little diary again? Kind of girly, ain't it? Fisher says, "Is he up?" He's up, writing in his little book again. What a unique... Wow. Well, you can definitely see right off rip, we've only been introduced to 2 of the characters visually, and the design of these characters is phenomenal already. I mean, there is a lot of love poured into these creatures. I cannot wait to get into this. You ready to go, Runt? No lollygagging now. I said I was up. Oh, we back talking now? Carver, we don't have time. It's not my fault we're late. Runt been hiding from us again. Can't sniff me out anymore under that thing. Don't you get lippy with me. I'll knock you upside your head. I'll throw your bed out the pond, you hear me? What y'all squabbling about? Wow. Interesting there. Okay. So, whereas... I can't really tell exactly what Carver's meant to be, like what their goal is per se, right? Or their purpose within the clan. Fisher is most likely a fisherman, right? But I don't know, just based off the appearance. It could be anything. Wide brim hat, could be a farmer, could be all sorts of things. And then it's got like this metallic, or I should say, has this metallic mask on, whereas Carver has like an anthropomorphic thing going on. Zipper for the mouth, and then the ears are pointed. And then Tanner has, looks like elk antlers attached to his head. He looks more tribalistic, even though he's wearing modern clothes. And then you see the blades around his belt. They kind of suggest that he's the, Hunter kills the meat and then Tanner skins it, right? But I don't know. We'll see. We were just talking to Runt. He says he's ready. I can speak for myself, Yeah, you weren't speaking earlier, were you? It was the anniversary of Dad's death. On a Sunday, no less. We were going to the church. We call it the church, but it's really just a rickety old storehouse we fixed up to serve something holy. I really didn't want to go. Carver, the headache that he was right. I'd been hiding. Foolish as it was, I'd hoped that they wouldn't find me. I wanted to see their flashlights sweeping past the windows, hear them calling out my name before giving up and going on without me. One of them would unload on me, probably Hunter, but at least I wouldn't be in that church. But that's why I was Runt. The little guy. The weak guy. The one hiding under the bed from the switch. They always found me because I still hadn't learned that lesson. I had to get my stuff packed before I went. As I stood up from my little nook between the kitchen and the basement, I saw my backpack had spilled everywhere. All my things were scattered across the floor. I knew it was Carver. Luckily, I had my flashlight. Alright, we get the little hidden object. Collecting items. To pick up items, search the environment with your flashlight. You'll often need to dig through a lot of trash or clutter to find exactly what you need. When you find what you're looking for, click on it to add it to your bag. Sweet. I need my journal, a radio, a map, and paper with the code. Okay. So... okie dokie. Okay, so it's just a hidden object game. I didn't know whether or not we'd have to... actually, a lot of love went into this as well, but I didn't know if we'd have to physically move the objects. We just have to click on them. That looks like a flyer of some sort. That was our map, and paper with a code. Alright. Bunch of interesting coins. This one has a water buffalo on it. Shot glass, scuzz brushes of various sizes. Coffee mug. Interesting. I had to sort my stuff out. Make sure it was all in the best spot to grab. I remember checking my bag. You can examine items in your inventory by hovering over their icons. Giving items a closer look can help with puzzles and requests. Your inventory can be opened by clicking on your bag. You cannot open your inventory while in dialogue. Okay. Check our bag. All the items you collect can be examined here in your bag. But for now, let's get your radio and journal ready. Click on each of them to place them permanently on your HUD. When you're done looking around your bag, click the strap at the bottom left to close it. Okie dokie. So let's put our map. Come and see Skipclaw. It's mountains of fun. The padlock code scribbled on a slip of paper. It reads order. Radio, flashlight, journal. Alright. Got everything set up. Radio. Click on your radio to switch it on and off. The radio only plays music, which changes depending on where you are and who you're talking to. Now let's check out the journal. Alright. I'm just going to keep it on for now. Journal. Your journal is where you keep track of your thoughts, feelings, and your to-do list. Scribbled notes on your changing feelings and your to-do list can be found on the Me page, while the rest of the journal contains everything else. Whenever you see a red swirl in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, something important has been added to your journal. Below your Me page is your mind map. This mind map will automatically collect and connect key pieces of info during conversations and display how they relate to each other, if at all. You'll get a new mind map each day to help track evolving leads as the week progresses. When you're done checking out your journal, head out to meet your brothers, but be quick about it. They aren't that patient. Click on the hand on the bottom left to close your journal. Okay. So, this is neat. I feel irritated. I can't put my finger on it. My dreams are only vague nightmares. Don't feel too much about myself. I hope my rounds go quick. Ain't much to do right now. Need to head back to the church to honor Dad. I hope it goes quick. Creatures, townies, brothers. Tanner. My brother Tanner's the second oldest. Real quiet, real hard to read. Follows Carver around like a dog, though I don't understand why. Those two couldn't be more different if you tried. Okay. Tanner. The middle strayer. A mouthy, rude one. Always fighting, wisecracking, and trying to start stuff. Likes making my life as miserable as possible. One day I'll land a punch on him. And Fisher. My brother Fisher's just a few years older than me. Whip smart with an iron faith in Dad's teachings. I get the feeling that he don't like us too much, given how much time he spends at the hydro station. Okay, interesting. Okie dokie. So this is, as mentioned... Oh, I forgot how to close this out. Oh, I clicked my hand. Very good. There was no sense in waiting. I had put it off long enough. I got my things in my backpack and went out the door of our house. Everyone was waiting. For me. Took you long enough. You did this last year. What's your problem? I stayed silent. There wasn't anything I could say. No answer, no reason was ever enough. Cat's got his tongue like usual. Too good to be talking to us. We got everything. Waiting on Hunter now. He was scooping, making sure the path's clear. No outsiders. Schedule was set. No patrol for any of us today. Except Runt. He should have done one. I had done one. Crack of dawn, shivering along the perimeter before the sun attempted its daily battle to break through the clouds. Was he being truthful? Did anyone see him? I tried being quiet. You think he's a liar, Carver? Well, he wasn't being real forthcoming earlier, was he? Bet he got halfway around the fence and took a load off under some sycamore. I tried to be quiet. Really, I did. Carver, don't be saying nothing now. Come to think of it, you was also missing all yesterday. Tell the truth, Runt. Were you under some bush? At key points in conversations throughout the game, you get to decide what Runt will say. Some of the dialogue choices you make will alter your personality and can change how certain characters react to you. Hints as to know how your personality is shifting inside of you as a result of your choices can be seen on the Me page in your journal. Very cool. So I'm going to take this slight break as an opportunity to talk about this. This is very different from anything that we've played on the channel before. It is more of a visual novel, point-and-click hidden object game. I thought it would fit right in because of the wacky characters, and I want to branch out. You know, it's never good to put yourself in a box, and I've talked about this before, but I thought this would be really cool, and I fell in love with the art style, especially the concept of these four brothers that all look like whatever skill or trade that they have. I think that's really neat, and it really pulled me in. But the gameplay itself, this is going to be really interesting. There's a lot of management. It reminds me a lot of Pathologic, which is taking the place of Pathologic this week on the channel. No offense to Pathologic, I just need a little break from it. Actually, yeah, no. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's definitely going to take... I think it's going to take the place of Pathologic. They would get back on that. But anyways, we're using our detective skills, our deductive reasoning, to figure out what the hell happened over the course of a week. And I think it's pertaining to our father's death, right? Because you can kind of infer that from some of the journal pages. But this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to, for our first playthrough, this is meant to be replayed, so says the store page. And it's got this nice dark Gothic theme. I think we'll see more of that as we get further into this. That's another thing that drew me in. Sorry, I'm getting off track. But I'm going to play this as, I don't know, I'm not going to try to be any type of way. I'm just going to answer truthfully, and we'll see, like with these personality choices, or our dialogue choices. So we'll answer truthfully and go from there. Tell the truth, Runt. Were you... that's definitely the aggressive choice. Carver, not today. Check the log sheet. I ain't yeah, I'm gonna just be honest. Check the log sheet. I ain't a flaker. Yeah, I'll be checking. Don't think for a second I ain't on you 24/7. You hear me? Runt. Uh-oh. Holy hell. We fell silent, standing in our little half circle around Hunter. He towered over us, bearskins draped over his frame, making him even bigger than he actually was. Would you look at that? Oh my god, I am absolutely in love with this character model already. Well, it's not even a model, this character. Who designed this? Because this is incredible. The concept of a bearskin draped over him, you can vaguely make out a face and the mouth here. This is an M16 with a 203. That's a PEC A2. You see what appears to be a flashlight. This is kind of an amalgamation, but 203 grenade launcher, 5.56 platform, full A2 stock that's been modified. What the hell? That is one hell of an introduction. And boop, I'll take that. Well, it's gonna be hard to get a good screenshot for this. Never mind. We were all on edge. See, Hunter was in a black mood. Had been for a few days at that point. It was like his shadow that swallowed all the light around him, half hiding him against the prairie grass. You could feel it even before he got close to you. This horrible heaviness, muted only by the weight of his big old bearskin cloak. See, Hunter had a dog named River, this shaggy, vicious thing that snapped at anyone that wasn't Hunter. I couldn't tell you what kind of dog it was. Some sort of mutt, I swore was part wolf. Those two loved each other more than anything. Certainly more than Hunter ever loved us. He never hit River. Not once. He would have liked us better if we were all his dogs. Loyal, silent, and obedient without even the ability to question his command. But River had died a few days ago. Hunter didn't say much else on it. Not how or why or when, but only that River had died. He kept the mutt hidden away, not letting any of us get close to it. I could only take his word that River had passed. None of us had the words to comfort each other. I was silent when he told me, standing stone still amongst the chickens in the yard that early morning. No doubt everyone else was the same. That black mood in the days that followed River's death built and built like wood heaped on an invisible fire. That silent heat rippled around us as we stood before him. I wish I could say I had pity for him, for River to die and then having to deal with Dad's anniversary right after, but I think I was scared more than anything. All this heat, it had to go somewhere, and God help who it struck. You ready? He turned towards us, face black under the teeth of his hood. I nodded. We all nodded. We were waiting for RUNT. He was hiding. I wasn't hiding. How many times do I gotta say it? Enough. His hand was on my shoulder. Even through my jacket, through his gloves, I could feel his strength, his power. Them fingers dug in tight. Let's go. RUNT, take point. I knew my brothers were sneering under their masks. Taking point was not something to be proud of. It was the first line of defense if we got attacked. The first wall of meat. So, this is also a post-apocalyptic game. Which is, it's mentioned, but it's not mentioned totally clearly. The world has been plunged into darkness, like a permanent darkness, which is scary in and of itself, scary enough by itself. But it seems as if there are creatures. Oh, I see now that Fisher's got like some type of electric bow staff on him. Very interesting. All sorts. I can't wait to see these characters like by themselves in full view. Anyways, you see here, Tanner's got I like the patchwork on his knees. Looks like Carver's wearing Desert Night camo pants. My favorite camouflage pattern, the best camouflage pattern. Very cool. Very cool indeed. What was I getting at? Oh hell. Yeah, so we have creatures out and about, most likely. Hence the heavy patrols and whatnot. And something else I wanted to mention is when it comes to the concept of a point man, It is not. I mean, it's a position when you look at military structure, especially in like urban combat. Your point man position is it's not point man's never wrong, right? And it's not necessarily a prestigious position to be in because um, about 9 times out of 10, the first person that goes through a door in any urban close quarters battle environment is gonna take a round. It's like a knife fight, like someone's getting cut. In urban CQB, like I don't know why it's so glorified nowadays, or why people romanticize stuff like that because it's real nasty stuff. You're gonna take a round, but yeah, your point man is usually a private, or at least it used to be, like your PB2 that just got promoted for being on deployment type private. Because why would you put a senior NCO in that position? Anyways, all that aside, let's get through here. We had to burn him so it wasn't attractive. Oh Christ, I missed something. We had to burn him so it wouldn't attract them. It became a tradition that we'd all take a little trinket or something, and that would be Dad, his presence, his spirit. We were always finding bits of him everywhere at home, like somehow, in his death, his ghost had come home and I don't know, melded with the house. His hair, his clothes, his writings, every nook and cranny he was there, always watching us, like he never left. RUNT! Yes? Let's bug out. Now. It was a bad idea to keep him waiting any longer. Your map is in the lower right-hand corner near your bag. You'll use your map to move around Skipclaw and see the lay of the land. For now, open up your map and head to the church. Okay? Very cool. Ah, nice. So we are at home? Are we supposed to be at home? I suppose. Let's go to the church. With each step, my feet got heavy. I was stomping on sticks and dry grass and getting cuffed at the back of the head by Carver when I slowed down. Nobody said anything, but each time I lagged, I could feel the heat of their eyes on my neck. Hunter halted, raised a hand. Stop. Down. We dropped. We didn't disobey. Not in this world. Hesitation got you killed. 9 o'clock. There, just beyond the top of the fence, we lay on the crest of the hill, looking down into a shallow, dry gulch. We shuffled in the grass, positioning ourselves just beneath the brush. We smelled it before we saw it. That thick, acrid, musky scent. There it was. Very scary. Can barely make out a form. We have all sorts of names for him. Hunter calls him the Unholy. Tanner and Fisher call him Lung Dogs, along with most of the town. Carver calls them Fleshies. To me, they're always Twisters. Why Twisters? Well, how else are you supposed to get the head off? You'd always hear them if they were close. In big sacks pressing out air, wheezing and breathing and gurgling. Sounded like death rattles. Even more than their breathing, I hate their eyes, how they never seem to blink. Even before I knew all they could do, I wanted to put a bullet in their skulls just for those lids to finally drop and stop staring at me. They appeared after the blackout, pouring in from some unknown place for some unknown purpose. Something more than animal and less than human. We had our rifles, but they had the dark. The never-ending dark. I tried to focus. Nothing good comes from daydreaming on a battlefield. We watched as it swayed in the field, us hiding low in the grass. Hunter prepped his rifle and waited. Typically, we aimed to engage and scare them off as quickly as possible. But a wasted bullet is a wasted bullet. As we crouched there, I felt a hand bump mine, knocking my flashlight. Couldn't tell you who, but my gut says it was Carver. I couldn't move quick enough. My flashlight blasted on, over the fence and out across the field. Oh, Christ. Who stopped talking? We all stilled at Hunter's heavy command, and I'll beat the daylights out of you if you so much as breathe tone I was all too familiar with. The beam caught the twister as it tore and mauled at some creature. We watched, unable to look away. The sounds carried over the prairie, wet and sinewy and echoed in the cold. In the dark grass, I felt a firm hand paw around towards mine. It took my flashlight and went to flick it off. As it did, the sound of the beam powering off cracked into the night. The twister looked up. It was near black in the field. The twister, a liquid shadow against the grass. What the hell am I looking at? That's actually horrific. Hunter lifted his gun. The twister twitched. You see the... There it went. And disappeared. Quickly as it came. We waited, breathing low against the swaying grass. When it didn't return, we slowly stood up and kept on. A jab in my back from someone's gun urged me back to the front. Felt like I was marching to my doom, which, if I think on it, I guess I was. Never got over how the church looked that night. The way the water had seeped from the window to look like tear stains from a weeping eye. Like it was living and felt bad nobody was coming to it no more. Huh. The use of descriptive language here is incredible, and I like that we can manipulate our flashlight. Let's talk about that, the lung dog in the field. It looks like a mixture between a dog, a deer, a human, all mixed together. Has an extremely elongated neck with a roundish humanoid face, but it did seem like the face itself was flat, based on that second image we saw when our flashlight flicked off. You could see the little beady eyes, the little white beady eyes in the dark, and then the glint of the teeth, which kind of implies humanoid teeth, which is terrifying in and of itself. Now, I don't know how affected the populace is here in this world, specifically in Skipclaw, but if the world itself had gone, is plunged into an endless night, plunged into this apocalypse, I think it's safe to say that, the creatures, the infected, whatever we're dealing with has poured out well into the city, or well out of the cities into these country environments as well. That would make a lot more sense if the creatures had come not from humans themselves, but had come from another dimension or plane. But with all that to consider, what a terrifying design. It looks like the lungs, the sacs in its chest itself, are different colored than the flesh that seems to be draped over top of it. It looks, and it reminds me a lot of like a flayed one from the 40K universe, where it's like this, it's one thing that's draped in something else, right? It's a mechanical skeleton draped in human flesh, right? Where this seems to be some type of maybe demonic creature that's draped in another animal's skin. That's terrifying to me. Kind of like a not deer, if you're familiar with that concept. But anyways. Oh, God. Can't wait to get into that. After Dad passed, service slowed. Nobody could take on his work. Nobody had his speech, his tongue, his way of moving. He could make you believe in miracles. He could make you believe in anything. He was an unstoppable force, like a tornado or a hurricane. You could feel the emptiness in that church when he died. Like all the air went out of the room. Nobody took over, not even Hunter. So it was locked up. All the faithfuls had died before him anyway, or left Skipclaw after he died. We used it occasionally for important days like today, or for meetings if things ever got bad. We were here the day the blackout happened. Bright 1 second, and black the second after. I hid under pews while people scrambled in a panic outside. You can still see blood on the floor from the few times the twisters broke in. Fighting our way back home to the farm, we lost a lot of people. I was only 9. I covered my eyes. Perhaps the last time my brothers were nice to me was back then when they guided me home. I didn't cry. They told me not to, so I didn't. I'm 19 now, and I've cried a lot since then. I can't help it. After all, I was RUNT. Who's got the code? Not me. I got it. Go, get. I'd never been given the code before. Them trusting me with the code was new. Them trusting me at all was new. We're waiting, RUNT. Get to it. I'm sorry I skipped that. I had no time to think on it, so I went forward towards that hollow, haunted place. Puzzles. You'll need to complete a variety of puzzles and chores in order to progress through sections of the game. Some are simple, while others will require a bit more thought. Check your inventory, talk to people, and think carefully about how to approach each puzzle. If you need help, check the question mark tab that will be present at each puzzle. Okay, so we already know this puzzle because we read it back at home. It was on that piece of paper, so it says order. Yeah, that's a D for sure. Very good. It's a unique padlock here. Order. There it is. Open sesame. Right? Yeah, there's only one way to spell order. Last time I checked. Okay. Maybe we have to check this first. Yeah, it reads order. Right? Okie dokie. Am I missing the... Oh, I'm missing the push. There we go. I'm going to have to be extremely mindful here of the environment. Everything that is interactable will be highlighted once we hover over it. Once the lock opened, I felt a darkness pass through me. I hadn't even cracked the door open yet, but something strange and cold was seeping out from underneath the door. It wasn't a draft or like a wind or anything, but just something. Something evil. My brothers always said I was too sensitive, too soft. They called me girly and weak and flighty, but if I had known what was beyond those doors and how it would change all of our lives, I would have run then and there. Run and run and run and never looked back. I can't see nothing in here. Now what the hell am I looking at? Well, quit complaining, get a candle going. It smells funny in here. Yeah, it looks funny in here too. That inky black feeling only got thicker. You can smell through that? Smell? Wait, yeah, I smell it too now. What is that? Hush. I fell silent. My nerves were twitching like a guilty sinner. Light it up, boys. Beams sky high. Oh, my God. What the hell is that? You, RUNT, go check it out. Me? Why me? Just go. My hands were trembling. My gun rattled in my grip. I couldn't at the time even explain even to my numb, dumb self why I felt the way I felt. Maybe it was something like Hunter's gut, an instinct. Dad would have called it divine insight. My brothers would have called it being a pansy. I stepped closer. In the dark, I was suddenly assaulted by this deathly smell, rotten and sour like the vinegar in our cannon room. My steps creaked, mixing with a cold wind blowing in from outside. But there was something else too. The slow, thick dripping. I'm trembling now as I write it. What a thing we saw. What it did to us. What the hell is that? 5 days. It's a twisted mess of organs. Looks like intestines, just judging by the tubature, but I don't know if it's humanoid or not. We stood in stunned silence as each of us took in the message written in the odds and ends of dozens of creatures. Was it a warning? Was it a threat? We didn't know then, but it was a promise. A promise that would be fulfilled. By me. RUNT! Oh, how fun. How fun. We are in for a scary, spooky dooky ride, my dear friends. We are in for a scary ride. I love it so far. I am so invested in these characters. I love the brotherly aspect, sibling aspect in general, especially like in larger families. I have a sister. I have a single sister. She's younger than me, so I am the oldest. Man, I wish I had, like 3, 4, 5 brothers and sisters. I'm so thankful for my sister. I don't want you to misconstrue that and think that in any way, or any negative way, only positive. Now I have a big family because I'm married into a big family. So that's nice. But now I have I have a whole hell of a lot of sisters. Anywho's, we left the church stunned and silent. Hunter radiating heat like a fire made out of hate. It was a violation, you see, an unholy mess made of that sacred day. It made him mad. So mad. Not that he would ever say it. Not with words. He didn't need to. You could feel that heat coming off him in waves, and it whipped us all into stupid silence. He took point. We followed with our tails between our legs. No one talking. Not even Carver. As we walked, the feeling in the church followed us home again. Our 6th most dark brother. I couldn't shake it. I don't know if anyone else felt it, but from how our heads hung low, it was like our own shadows were too heavy. It was late when we got home. Deep night. I almost cursed the old screen door for creaking too loud when it slammed up my rear on the way in. But Hunter was already up the stairs. We weren't going to talk about it yet. Then, I sort of wanted to talk about it right then and there. The longer he was quiet, the worse it was going to be when he finally wasn't. I settled down on my cold mattress with a knot in my stomach. The feeling grew, gnawing and twisting like it was going to come up out of my throat. Every time I was almost asleep, it woke me back up, like it was tapping me on the shoulder, not wanting to let me forget it. I'd done something wrong that night in the church. What it was, I didn't quite know yet. The way things were around here, maybe I never would. I lay on my mattress with my eyes closed in the dark, trying to keep myself calm. The feeling haunted me. This feeling of failure. Day 1, Monday. I wonder why we have this feeling of like inadequacy. I mean, I understand where the feeling of inadequacy comes from, but I don't know where the this feeling of making a mistake came from, especially in relation to the church. There's got to be a deeper meaning there, because we didn't really do anything. We just approached. Maybe approaching was the wrong move. Maybe going in the church at all was the wrong move. Like you said, this feeling coming from the church, something evil was inside. It didn't matter how bad I slept that night. I was up before the crack of dawn. First out to the hen house to let the girls out, then right back in to scrub the kitchen down before I fixed up breakfast. A life like this didn't let you feel sorry for yourself for long. House stuff was my job. Mainly cooking and cleaning, watching the hens, and tending the little garden out back. Every day I fixed breakfast and dinner. No exceptions, no days off, no matter how poor Tanner said my cooking was. At least they let me off the hook for lunch, seeking to take it somewhere and skip claw if they could. Breakfast that morning was nothing but eggs scrambled up with a few sorry sausages and toast. Butter and jam would keep them happy, keep their mouths full from talking too. And would it keep me happy too? I jabbed at the sausages sizzling in the pan. I could hear somebody getting up in another room, and that twisted feeling returned to my stomach like a gut punch. I hadn't felt this bad since Dad died, but I couldn't say nothing. Even if anyone else felt the same way, I couldn't say anything. Nobody would care. I set out plates, and just on time, as if they could hear the clunking, everyone shuffled into the room. Hunter first, then Fisher, scratching at his neck and yawning, shaking his head like a dog as he sat, and Carver and Tanner, right together like they always were. In the backyard, the rooster crowed in the morning. Lord, our God, we come to you as underserving sinners, with thanks for the bounty you have seen fit to put up on our table. Keep your hand heavy upon us as you lead us through the trials of this earth, and form us into soldiers of your will. Amen. We were silent, then waiting for Hunter to speak more, but he just pulled his hands back, picked up his fork, and started eating. We followed suit, and once all of our mouths were stuffed, he finally spoke. Who did it? He looked round at us. You couldn't see his eyes, but you could feel him boring into you from under the teeth of his mask. Did what? Ow. Carver jumped high enough in his seat to clatter all the plates on the table. I saw why. Tanner had stepped on his foot under the table. What do you think, genius? We didn't do nothing. We wouldn't do that to Dad. You mean the thing in the church? Hell no, we ain't got time to be pulling stuff like that. Are you crazy? Carver, baffled as he always was by Hunter trying to chastise him, had his hands up, fork still gripped in one. Fisher wiped his sweaty palm on his dirty pant leg. Tanner stared at Carver, then back at Hunter. Someone must be punished. You mean killed? Ain't it a bit much to kill somebody over this? Hunter turned up and clammed his hand over the back of Tanner's neck. He leaned in, pulling Tanner's head down and close so he could speak right into his ear. His voice was hot and low. You want them unpunished? Is that the message you wish to send for the defamation of our church? The mockery of our day of mourning? You don't want us to do nothing? It's all right to do that to us? Is that what you want to say to them? I knew that hand, how hard it could squeeze. It was like a vice. 5 seconds in and you weren't sure if he was going to start snapping bones. Tanner bore it, silent, didn't move a muscle. I agree with him. Let off. You two trade your stuff in for a dolly on one of your trips into Skip Claw. Is that it? His hand didn't relax on Tanner's neck. My eyes would have been watering at this point, but you couldn't move or whine or show any of the pain, or he'd make it worse. Let him go so he could eat his breakfast. He didn't do nothing. If it was a townie playing a prank, hell, I'd be happy to skin him myself. But we'll get hell from Skipclaw if we do a thing like that. Just, Jesus H. Christ, Hunter, let him go. Whip fast. Hunter slammed Tanner's head down on the edge of the table. I heard the wind leave his lungs. He staggered and Carver lunged forward to start fussing on him. Hunter, what's wrong with you? He's right. Tanner's voice was weak, warbling, his breath slow and deliberate. His hands gripped the edge of the table as Carver uselessly cradled his shoulders. We have to send a message to whoever did this. They can't mess with us. Sure. Well, we just got to be stealthy, is all. We'll find him, Hunter. Don't you worry. We'll find him and string him up. Right, Hunter? That'd be all right, wouldn't it? What if it wasn't a human? The whole table turned to look at him. Fisher worked his hand up under his mask to scratch again. Think it's one of those unholy? I mean, both of them can do stuff. We've all seen it. It was true. We had all seen it. Every time somebody died to one of those things, we saw it. Twisters were cunning, wily things with a taste for scattering their prey when they were done eating it. Bones this way, half-chewed organs that way, each making some kind of symbol if you looked at it too long. Like it was trying to say something you were too stupid to understand, or too scared. That message in the church could have been a twister attack. A few of them in a pack. But it could have been a smoke. They were subtle at first. Lights throwing shadows that didn't quite match up. Shadows that moved when you were looking right at them. Some folks said it was our eyes adjusting, like it was some kind of effect of the shadow in the sky, a withdrawal from the lack of light. Then people started disappearing. More and more, just wandering off in the night. And when they were found, they were always in some old barn or abandoned building. The bodies, you couldn't tell who they were anymore. All you knew was that they were human once. They were a person once. Let's see, the skin pale white, nose turned up, the irises devoid of color, looks like they've gone pale, mouth agape. The veins popping out, I don't know what the effect's supposed to be. I don't know if they're supposed to look like they're sunken in, malnourished. Grim indeed. No, they were just corpses, curled up like dead bugs, skin and faces dried to paper, like old corn husks. Hunter called a town meeting after the first few bodies were found, and the town came to a conclusion on a few things. There was something new out there. It liked the dark, and it needed people to be alone. After that, we paired up, kept flashlights on us as much as we could to ward off the darkness, but it's always dark now. And you can't be with someone else round the clock nonstop, even if you like them a lot. That's why we got these masks. They protect us. I'll tell you that story another time. Basically, the smokes can't see us with them on, like we're camouflaged. That's why we wear them now. As long as we're out of the dark, as long as we're not alone, as long as we hide our faces, the smokes can't get to us. Funny. I think I've seen my brother's masks more than I've seen their faces. Some townies I've only ever known through their masks. My mask was... Oh, hell yeah! Hell yeah! Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. That is such a cool detail. Sorry for losing my marbles. I love that it makes you pick your mask. That is so cool. So, right, I'm off rip. I am drawn to this mask just based off the visual. I really like this Stranger in a Strange Land style mask that's hockey mask. It's plain. It's got a distinct ridge running. It draws your attention towards the eyes of the mask, as well as the mouth, or where the mouth should be. I don't like this one so much. It's a little too... it's lacking a mouth, honestly. This one, the hubcap, is terrifying. That's really, really cool. The sack mask is a classic, very Strangers-esque. Man, they actually have... Normally, when a game gives you a choice of a piece of clothing or a mask, there's like one option that just jumps out, and it's absolutely, that is your character. It's like, I don't know, for me, I feel like, generally speaking, when I'm given a choice of 5 objects in a game, there's only one that ever jumps out and screams at me. It's like, that is what that is made for me as a person, not me as a character, but me as the person, right? But here we have 4 options that I absolutely adore. Even though the sack mask is, just a classic sack mask, it's really, really neat. This one, the cowboy hat with the red feather, the contrasting green half mask, and then the bones hanging. I mean, come on now. That's pretty cool. I'm going with that. I really, really like it. A cowboy hat with dangling feathers and bones. Yeah, I mean, that's cool as hell, right? I really like that. I used bits from our little ladies to decorate it. Felt bad wasting it. But that ain't here or there. I watched Fisher scratch at himself again. The lights were steady in the kitchen, buzzing a low hum into the cold. I mean, both of them can do stuff. We've all seen it. At Fisher's words, I felt I had to say something. Okay, I have a locked option, which is interesting. I don't think they could have done that. My words died in my mouth the second I said it. They all looked at me at once. I met each of their masks, staring at their vacant, blank eye holes. What, you got any other ideas? You ain't got nothing. Come on, let's hear it. Might be funny. You want to entertain him? His little scratchy voice irritates me. Come on, Runt, speak up. Tell us about your little ideas. Hunter was quiet. That fist on the table was all he needed to say. Everyone shut up and looked at him. But Hunter, he was looking at me. I could feel his eyes on me, even if I couldn't see him. Ask questions. Investigate. I want everyone searching. There will be no failure, no backing out. Carver, you're walking the perimeter. Tanner, guard duty. Fisher, hydro plant. If you find anything, report back immediately. That's an order. We all nodded. Runt, follow anyone you want today. It was awful having to pick like this, knowing nobody wanted me around. I was too weak to go out solo. Everybody knew this. Every day I had to do this. Every day they hated it and hated me a little bit more. They wouldn't go against Hunter's word. As much as anybody would hate to admit it, they needed me. Maybe they would have never mourned me as a brother, but they would have mourned the loss of a soldier, the loss of a warm body, the loss of a meat shield. They all ignored me as I lifted my head to look at each of them. Shifts. Each day you have to select one of your brothers to conduct a shift with. Shifts last most of the day and can be started immediately after breakfast or after you spend your free time in Skip Claw. You cannot do a shift with the same brother twice in 1 week. Whoever you select to work with today will not be available again. Consider who you choose carefully. Okay. Well, based on what? Who should I pick? All right. Let's see. They have given us options. Let's start right to left. Fisher, the fourth born, twitchy and quiet with his weird ramblings. Still, he ain't the worst. Spending a shift together would be bearable. Hunter, maybe the worst of the bunch, but that knot in my stomach says maybe I should pick him first. Get him done and out of the way. Tanner, second in command. Not for any good reason. He hates it when I get between him and Carver. Carver, the middle kid, a real jerk who likes to hear his own mouth run. Maybe it'd be easier to just do a shift with him early. So, all right, so here's my thought process. Let's say we have a week together in this demo. So if we go ahead and get Carver out of the way first, who hates our guts and is going to be a total mouthful. One, not only do I have to block out 90% of his speech pattern, but I don't think anything... here's the thing. I think further down the road, we want to have more important characters. So I think between Tanner and Hunter being the most important, I'd like to save him for a little down the road. I think if we knock out Carver first, and right now my levels of importance for characters to be around, from least to greatest, goes Carver, Tanner, Fisher, Hunter. The reason being, these two are inseparable, right? We know this. Hunter is the leader, and he commands attention. The way his actions speak far louder than words. So I think we need to keep a shift with him out, or for later in the week. Fisher seems to. I just feel like this character knows a little bit more than we're led on to. Plus, they specifically mention over and over again that he's a quiet character, even though Tanner looks like the quiet character. Am I making any sense? I feel like I just said a whole lot of nothing. That's all right. Let's pick Carver for Monday. Carver clicked his tongue and sat back in his chair. Then it's settled. Do rounds in the meantime. RUNT, meet after. So, the reason being for that decision, too, is Carver is on perimeter duty today. Tanner's on guard duty, Hunter's doing whatever Hunter does, and Fisher is at the hydro plant, which they say Fisher is constantly spending time at the hydro plant. So I feel like Fisher is going to have a consistent location, whereas Carver and Tanner might have switching locations. If we do the perimeter with Carver and see I want you to talk to all the loners. Anybody who lives alone or spends most of their shifts alone. I feel like if we check out the perimeter first, especially with Carver, it's going to give us some good insight. On my own, you can handle it. It's time you started pulling your weight around here. Took a ton of effort to not drop my eyes to the plates on the table. Carver slammed the table and stood up out of his chair. You're sending that nerd out on his own? Why we got to do our shifts while he's messing around? There we go. Quit complaining unless you want Hunter to staple him to you for the week. Run will be useful this way. Less heat on us for prying into those townies. Hunter kept his gaze on Carver until he sunk back into his chair with disgust. RUNT. Yes, sir. You got that dairy girl, Charlize, the doc, and his pesky twins. Also, Willie and that radio feller Red. I know we got more people, but just focus on those for today. You got 3 hours. Make good use of it. He stood, and they followed. Okay. And we're off to our first day. I stayed to wash the dishes. With all the dishes done, it was time to head out. I opened my map and let my already tired eyes trace the paper, deciding where to go. Where did I start that day? Interesting. It's cool, too, that we're playing now. Oh, and look at our saving logo. It's changed now. Very cool. After breakfast, you can either start your shift with your brother straight away or use your free time to explore and talk to people around Skipclaw. Your free time is given to you by Hunter, and is the only time you have to explore the world and talk to people. Upsetting Hunter Upsetting Hunter or breaking rules will reduce the amount of hours you have for free time. Visiting a location with someone present and having a conversation with them will take up 1 hour of your free time. If you visit a location with no one present, it will not take up any time. Remember, the things you do and the order you visit people can radically change what you can discover. Explore around and experiment. You might encounter entirely different days. If you're not sure where to head, check your journal. It may have leads or clues on where to go and what to do next. Open your map when you're ready to head out. Alright, so we have a very thorough tutorial, which I'm not upset about in the slightest. I like to... Oh, that's definitely playing the music. Interesting, we got the Cry of Fear soundtrack. Okay, so these are our days and our missions. The church was desecrated. I need to find out who or what did it. Need to ask around town. In the Me tab, hey, look at us! Looking slick. Looking slick. That is a really cool mask you got there. I feel irritated. I can't put my finger on it. My dreams are only vague nightmares. Don't feel too much about myself. I've been flinching more. Can't help it. Hunter wants me to ask around town. See if anyone's seen anything strange. But I gotta be delicate about it. Not let too much slip. If word gets out, it might start a panic, and then Hunter will be raging to beat me. Carver, what can I say about him that I haven't said before? He usually gets put on patrol, so maybe we can just walk and not talk. He has good stamina, I'll give him that. He can usually lap the whole wall in under 2 hours. That or he's just staying in one place. I wouldn't put it past him. Okay. So Sunday, Monday... Oh yeah, this is very pathologic styled. Very interesting. Our thoughts are actually physically written in our journal. The church was desecrated. I need to find out who or what did it. I need to ask around town. I should ask whomever I'm on shift with about the church stuff. We'll do that later. And there's Hunter, my oldest brother Hunter. Whatever he says goes, both here at the farm and out in Skipclaw. Don't mess with him, don't cross him. The only thing he's better at than leading is punishing. Very cool. Hunter's dog died recently, leaving him upset. Oh my god, I love the character design so much. Alright, brothers, townies, creatures. We have smokes and twisters. We haven't yet to see what a smoke looks like. How do I describe smokes? They're terrifying. They show up like black shadows in the corner of your eye and kill people by hollowing them out. They're why we have to wear masks 24/7. Okay. Twisters. Twisters are disgusting, horrible creatures that showed up immediately after the blackout. Don't let their size fool you. They ain't actually slow. Or stupid. The wall's been keeping them out for a few years now, but it seems like they're changing tactics on how to get to us. Okie dokie. So we'll close that. We've got a pretty good idea so far. Alright, folks. Well, we have an old house that gives me chills. Okay. Hunters at the food stores. Shirley's. That's who we're probably going to talk to coming up. And then we'll talk to Doc. The bathhouse. Interesting. I wonder where this takes place. It's got to take place in... It's definitely the States. Okay, so let us start. We have 3 hours before shift. Tanner's in the church on guard duty. I'm going to say let's go peek at the weird house if we can. We can't. Okay. Well, that... Whatever. Let's go see Sherlease then. Sherlease. Sherlease? Permanent night. The dairy was right over the hill from the food stores, though you could smell it before you saw it. Hell, you could smell it all the way across town if the wind was right. It smelled like excrement. Hot, burning excrement. And even with a mask on, it'd sear into your eyes. Living there as long as I had, I'd never gotten used to it. The dairy belonged to the Garlands, though there was only one of them still around in those days. I remember Dad saying that the Garlands were one of them families who settled in Skipclaw way back in 1800 and something. I still thought they were cool because their ancestors had a prize heifer, and that meant they could run the town. Maybe he was right, I don't know. The Garlands had always been kind to me as far back as I could remember. Hard workers, no-nonsense types who'd always wave back with a smile when you hollered a hello. Generous people, even after the blackout. It was a worse world without 'em all. It happened a few years ago, after a real cold winter. Perhaps the worst day we'd had there since the blackout. Carver and Tanner were both part of the group that had to carry out the bodies and hoist them over the fence to burn. We couldn't hold burials for 'em. Too risky with disease catching and medicine running low. I think that was the first time I'd really worried about how long we'd last in the world. It didn't seem to matter if we wore our masks or had fenced ourselves away from the outside world when a simple cold could wipe you out. Everyone goes up in smoke eventually. Everyone except Cherry Lease, that is, and her sister, Ivy, who skipped town soon after. I saw Cherry Lease there that day, forking hay from a wheelbarrow out over the fence, and the sight of her made me smile, even with the scent of cow excrement on the wind. Is that who I think it is? Ah, we have a love interest, it seems. Cherylise was what you'd call a real looker, even with the mask on. I'll admit, my heart did a little flip in my chest hearing the smile in her voice as she called out to me. She's kind, like I said, like all the Garlands. She always treated me like a kid brother, though these days, I don't know. My feelings were all knotted up and twisted. I didn't know if what I felt was friendship or something more. I cared for her. I wanted her safe. And I know I'd do anything for her. But the thought of telling her that didn't sit right with me, as if she needed any more stray or trouble. Morning, Miss Garland. You need help with that hay? Miss Garland? Come on, Runt. I'm only 25. No, I'm just finishing up now. How are you, kiddo? Been better, but I've been worse. She laughed at that and stuck her pitchfork into the soft earth, clapped the stray hay off her gloves, and swung her thick braid back over her shoulder. How's everybody doing at the farm after yesterday? I was surprised at first that she'd asked. How many people in the town actually remembered Dad at all, let alone the day he died? But that was Cherylise. She was the type to always want to know what was going on. Not in a nosy way, but in a caring way. Like if you told her your birthday, she'd write it down on the spot and remember it forever. Well, we're all kinda... I picked up the handles of the wheelbarrow for her as I struggled to think of what to say. Cherylise wasn't that much older than me, and tough. Wasn't like I needed to hide the hard stuff from her. God knows she dealt with plenty already. What with her family, and bad years of stock, and, having to live in the world the way it was now. I just didn't want to add to that. Didn't feel right telling her that. It's like it didn't seem right telling her I wasn't a kid anymore. She deserved peace. She walked right next to me along the fence as the cows chewed hay and cud with a look on their face like they were bored of us before we even showed up. Oh, and here's the part. Well, okay. See, this is what it's doing. It's tempting us. It's tempting us to do the wrong thing. And the wrong thing would be to say there was an incident, right? And the reason it's a wrong thing is because we're trying to keep it contained. We're trying to keep the incident contained to us, the five brothers, right? So, I'm going to say it was fine. I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad, but I get you. It's nice that y'all remember him or make time for him. He went over the wall too, right? Yeah. Dad had gone over the wall the day he died. There had been some fighting amongst Hunter and Fisher about what to do with the body. I remember Fisher screaming a lot. He had turned 20 that year, and yet his voice was not fully broken. All of us born on the farm had been late bloomers. I just got my first chest hair this year. I hope my voice fully drops too. His cracking pleas pierced my memories. How desperate and confused he was. I didn't understand what there was to be confused about. Dad was dead. Some of that day was blurry. Shock, I guess. Can't remember everything that happened. But I remember how Cherry Lease looked the day her family died. How she and her sister Ivy stood shoulder to shoulder, still as stone, watching as body after body after body rolled over the fence. We fell into a silence as we went up the road, coming up to the main barn, lost in our own memories. Can I ask you something? Yes, ma'am. Why do they have you doing pickups today? Is Carver feeling under the weather or something? I haven't seen him around here lately. Dairy pickups and check-ins were a task Carver took upon himself with great pride. Ever since he started mixing more with the townies, he said it was smart to breed good relations with the old family. And if Shirley's had to be there, well, all the better for breeding. His words, not mine. It was one of the only things he and Tanner didn't see eye to eye on. Tanner kept his distance with the townies, and seemed to hate Carver mixing too much with them. But Tanner kept his distance from everybody. Everyone that wasn't Hunter or Carver. I couldn't tell you what he's up to. Hunter might know, but even then, with Carver being Carver, I shrugged. I figured, if you do talk or whatever y'all big old manly men do, could you do a favor for me? I nodded. Tell him not to be a stranger. I haven't seen him since Saturday, which I know ain't a long time, but I wanted to tell her. I couldn't. That, in fact, I wouldn't be doing that. Carver, no matter how charming he was, had a bad side, a rotten core. He wasn't going to be nice forever. And if Shirley's, who had been nothing but kind to me, had to be subject to that, you two aren't... Shirley's waved her hand all shy like, don't you worry about that. Just tell him, all right? Okay. I couldn't see her face, but with how delicately she spoke, delicately she spoke, I could tell it had darkened. I just need to talk to Carver about something. I collected our ration of milk, and she sent me off with a hug that lasted a little longer than usual. Ooh, got some trouble in the family, huh? Trouble in the family. She's pregnant. Where to now? Don't need to be bothering Len. Said we could talk to the... Oh, God. We have the twins. Can I go to these places? I think I can. All right, so we're going to go to the... No, we can't. Can't go to the bath or the square. Bess isn't in. We can go to the doctor's office. The plaza. Let's go to... Oh, man. Let's go to the doc's office first. I have to keep a mental note of where we're stopping. Dixon Veterinary. When it came to what happened in the church, my gut told me to ask the town doctor. He might have seen something. If there was anybody in town you could trust to be truthful, forthcoming, and discreet, it'd be Mr. Dixon. I came knocking on Doc's door, only for it to fly open before my knuckles so much as kiss the wood. Oh, hello, Doctor. Whoa! Well, I'll be. Here I am coming out, and here you are coming in. His voice was jovial, if a touch out of breath. Morning, Mr. Dixon, sir. I'm just doing my rounds. I hope I didn't give you a fright. Doc is just fine, Runt. Or Dwight. Would you like to come in a moment? I paused a second, hovering around the idea of saying I didn't and letting the old man get to his much needed break, but before I could say anything, he clapped my shoulder. Come on. Come on, it's alright. I can see you got something weighing you down. In we go. He's got an interesting mask. Fleas got you down? Talk to your vet about fleas. And there's a horse anatomy in the background. Very interesting. Dwight. I can't call him that. I never could. Doc was one of the pillars of Skipclaw. And a man I'd venture to say, even though he wasn't the real religious type, a martyr. Always felt bad bugging him on account of him being a bit older and having a to-do list longer than the devil's contract. Skipclaw hadn't had a doctor before the blackout. Anything wrong with you, you had to hightail it to Grenshaw or pray the roads weren't too bad for the ambulance to come on through. What we did have was Doc, a veterinarian specializing in whatever ails your cat or cow or equine beast. He was going to retire, splitting his time between Skipclaw and some remote fishing at a cabin he had way up in the mountains. And then the blackout happened. And as it turns out, stitching up folks and cleaning wounds ain't too different between species. He saved a lot of folks in those early years. What he didn't know from treating animals, he picked up from books, I guess, or learned by doing. I think Hunter gave him one of Dad's old books on field dressing. There's a sort of olive branch between them. Maybe it was a way of just letting him know that Hunter approved of him becoming the town doctor. Us strayers never needed him. We'd take care of our own, after all, which I was truthfully glad at, in a way. The man was exhausted every time I saw him. Calm and kind, willing to listen to your troubles, up to his ears in work and looking after his wife and the twins, but bone-tired. I liked coming to talk to him, but I didn't want to give him any more work, especially when I was fit as a fiddle. How are y'all doing out at the farm? All right, sir. Steady as ever. Yeah, and all the little ladies doing good? Nancy doing all right? Yes, sir. Right as rain. Went back to laying in 2 days, though she still pecks at me something fierce if she's sitting on an egg. That's good. That's good. I could tell he cared, but I could also tell that the smile in his voice was being forced. Always happy to hear I made a lady happy. He settled down on his stool with a slight grunt. I heard his knees creak. I didn't know how old Doc was. I'd never seen his hands or face before, but he'd been wanting to retire. A month away, and then the blackout happened. Thought about that fishing cabin he had up in the hills. Probably half rotted now. Collapsed. Have you seen anything new lately? New, as in people? No. Shirley's got a bull that's not all that interested in mating lately. Not quite sure how I'm going to tackle that just yet. Yeah, gosh, sir, ain't that a problem and a half. Think a nice candlelight dinner might stir him back into action? Pardon, sir? Candlelight dinner. It's romantic. I nodded as if I knew what he meant. He sighed and I felt bad all over again for bugging him. He wasn't going to know nothing. Not the type to lurk around and definitely not the type to be doing what was done to us in the church. As if reading my mind, he looked up. That strange mask of his tilted towards me. You all right, Runt? Yes, sir. You've got a cloud hanging over you. I do. It's written all over your face. Well, mask, I suppose. Call it healer's intuition. Something on your mind, son? Of course. Leave it to a doctor to pick up on something ailing you. I feel fine, sir. Promise. Now, if all my patients, animal or otherwise, promised me they were fine, I'd be out of a job. Don't leave this old man jobless, son. I was torn. Hunter's instructions to go out and interrogate the town felt wrong in the calmness of Mr. Dixon's office. But if I didn't ask, Hunter would know. If I messed up even a hair, he always knew. Like he was everywhere. You seen anything strange lately? Strange? What you mean? Like, well, creature strange. Brought a hand up to his mask and hummed in thought. I tend to keep pretty indoors nowadays. Me and the missus prefer the peace. I can't recall the last time I saw one of them things. Either of them, really. The twins might have heard something. They keep more on top of things around town than I do. At least with all that creature stuff. At the risk of sounding like a grumpy old man, I ain't got that fire in me to go hunting or patrolling like they do. My wife needs me at home, and I need her too. Forgive me. Since all this and all that, stuff with those shadow things, I'd appreciate getting going and go check on her, Under the hum of the office lights, we looked at each other. Partings were awkward, mostly because you never knew if the next time you saw them, it would be their body you were pushing over the wall. Be real careful now. I nodded, letting myself out and back into the chill. Okay, so Doc wasn't so helpful, but he is the father of the twins, which are located here in the plaza. So I think we're going to do this pipeline first, and then we'll worry about Willie and Red in the tower later. Oh. I figured I'd run into the twins if I swung by one of their haunts. After all, the doc said they might know a thing or two. While the benches in the little plaza outside the old antique store seemed empty at first glance. Oh, Christ. I wasn't there 10 seconds before a pair of shadows overtook me with a flurry of footsteps. And there they are. Temple? Hey, Runt, looky here. And Church. Temple and Church. Neat names. Where you been? They flanked me, pawing at me and tugging on my clothes for a second before settling down, knocking against each other and breathless. Where have I been? It's only been a day. Y'all can't handle not seeing me for one day? I got so bored without you. Yeah. Who'd we complain to after classes, man? Yeah. Besides, you're just too much fun to pick on. Yeah. Well, here I am. Temple and Church were the twin terrors of Dwight Dixon, Skipclaw's vet turned doctor. I liked him well enough, but by God, if they weren't like two rubber balls, bouncing off the floor and the ceiling and the walls and each other so fast you couldn't keep track of either one of them, till one of them hit you right between the eyes. Riled up, I'd call it. I think I skipped over something. I'm so sorry. Always ready for pranks, for mischief, for distracting you with a tall tale that went nowhere while the other snuck behind your back and swiped your rations. I knew from talking to their dad that they'd turned 18 over the winter, but if I asked them their age myself, they'd never give me a straight answer. The truth wasn't as fun as keeping people guessing. Hell, last year they swapped places in school for a full week before anybody noticed that Temple was Church and Church was Temple. The masks were a boon to such nonsense, and even though they'd got reprimanded for their prank, I had a suspicion that they still swapped places with a frightening regularity. That's hilarious. Oh my God. My fun true fact, my wife is a twin. Isn't that wild? She tells me all these stories about when she was younger, how her and her sister would swap places, and like in different, whether it be like not serious medical situations, but in medical situations or in offices or whatever it happened to be, through paperwork or phone calls, they could swap and pretend to be each other, and I think that is the coolest thing in the world. I knew Temple liked spikes, and Church had a real liking for trinkets. It was the only way I could remember to tell them apart. Temple likes spikes, and Church liked trinkets. Okay. Temple's on the left then, Church is on the right. All this high energy and thirst for mischief made them pretty good sources for gossip, but how they managed to get in on so many secrets while being so loud was beyond me. They might know something helpful about what happened in the church, but if they were sensing I was sniffing around for secrets, they might withhold it from me, turn it into a game. I didn't have the courage to ask myself if their pranks had taken a turn for the twisted. Hunter finally let you off your leash? Hey, I ain't on a leash. Alright then, come hang out. You wanna hang out? Jimmy's got his bike all fixed up, and he made a huge ramp over this huge mud pit he found back behind the mill, and we're gonna see if he can jump it. But you can't tell anyone about it because it's dangerous. And we'll get our rump kicked if his mom and dad find out. Because, last year he broke his leg jumping out of the barn, and Dad didn't know if it'd set right. He's not even supposed to have his bike after the mess with the tractor, but we think he can jump that pit. Yeah, I want to see him jump that pit. Come on, Runt, don't you want to see him jump the pit? The comic relief is nice, honestly. Or spill out. Come watch. Never hang out with us anyways. We want to have some fun. Come on, Runt. They were jumping up and down with excitement as they finished thinking on what a glorious sight it'd be to see Jimmy go over that pit of mud. A small part of me did want to see, but shucks, man, I hate to say it, but I got a shift soon. Oh no, come on, Runt, just once. You're no fun, you never come hang out. They were right. I never did hang out. Might have been a good idea to go, especially if a whole group of kids was going to be at the mud pit. I could ask around, see if anybody knew anything. Kids were underestimated as eyes and ears in the town. They got themselves into all sorts of secrets. All us grown-ups were too busy to gossip on the grapevine or whatever. But at the thought of going to hang out with a bunch of towny teens, my stomach sunk. The truth was, the twins, all the other kids in town, they made me feel old. Old and out of place. Kids were precious in Skipclaw. After the blackout, when it had become clear that the skies were never going to clear and nothing was ever going to get better, the townies got together and decided to upset Hunter in the worst way possible. They declared that nobody under the age of 18 was to be put to work. No jobs, no shifts patrolling the perimeter, no skipping out on getting an education to work alongside their parents. The parents of Skipclaw wanted their kids to be just that. Kids. See, the children yearn for the minds. I believe this wholeheartedly. And Hunter believes this wholeheartedly as well. These townsfolk seem to be backward people. 18 is the minimum age for work. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. I say, if you're old enough to speak your native tongue pretty all right, then you're old enough. If you can swing a pickaxe, then you can work in the mine. That's what I say. Hunter went ballistic, shouted that they were weak, hanging on the ways of a world that didn't exist no more, blind to the realities of the one we really did live in. The perimeter had only gone up as fast as it did because we'd had the kids right there helping their parents round the clock. As Hunter saw it, Skipclaw wanted to let them mess around and contribute nothing. They wanted to bring them up soft and useless. They wanted to set their kids up for dying. A bad fight broke out in the meeting hall that night, with Carver and Tanner trying to keep Hunter from killing anybody in the mob, while also trying to keep the mob from killing Hunter. Even still, a man nearly died getting in Hunter's face about keeping his son off the patrols. In the end, Hunter was outnumbered and exhausted by the group of desperate parents, and he relented on one condition. God, I wish I could go back. My finger is sitting on the space bar and I'm pressing it. So on one phantom condition that we'll never get to know, I wish there was a back option. That calmed Hunter down enough to not finish the bloodshed he'd started that night. He walked out of that place with only a simmer of rage keeping his shoulders taut. Not that it was alright, though. It wasn't what Hunter wanted, and he made it everyone else's problem. First it was me, beaten blue and bloody the night of the town meeting. Then it was one of the Mason teens running home with a dislocated shoulder for crossing too close to church property. Then pot shots near kids playing ball. Then little Laura being grabbed and told she was going to get thrown over the wall so the twisters could eat her if she didn't stop playing too loud. It just went on and on. No one could stop Hunter. Thankfully, Church and Temple were too smart to ever mess with Hunter, and too lucky to ever run into him. Instead, they enjoyed messing with me. In a nice way. Respectfully, I think. Told you were on a leash. Come on, bark. Roll over. Cut it out, y'all. We're just teasing. Can you or can't you hang? Mud pit, mud pit, mud pit. The twins are crowding in on me like eager little pups, nipping at my heels trying to get me to chase them. They were young, they just wanted to play. But I couldn't, no matter how much they included me. I felt a wall between us. And it wasn't just them. Even from behind everyone's mask, I felt weird looks. Every attempt to include me left me lost in the conversation. I'd ask them what work they were doing, like what projects or repairs they had going on, and was met with silence. I wasn't one of them, and I never would be. But the twins, bless them both, never seemed to give up on me. They always tried to include me. Always let me know when movie night was coming, and they'd come pick me up if I wanted to come. But hanging out was not part of survival. Not for a strayer. And so, I had to content myself with the solace that being alone was better than being black and blue for having friends. Hey, what's going on in that big old head of yours? Yeah, Mr. Mysterious, you trying to be all cool again? I ain't, I'm sorry I can't hang out with you guys, but what? What's going on? Something wrong? You got something going on, don't you? Is it a secret? We won't tell. We swear. Pinky swear. They held out their fingers at the same time, brimming with excitement. I hesitated a second, thinking on it. I could have revealed what I saw, but did they really understand how to keep a secret? Have you guys seen anything weird? Weird? The twins looked at each other, thinking. Well, what you mean by weird? Yeah, what's weird to you? Willie's been kind of weird lately, getting into all sorts of scraps. Nah, that ain't weird. Come on, Runt, what's weird to you? Just anything. People being strange or seeing more of them creatures. Creatures? Nah, I don't think so. We could ask around. You want us to help you? Yeah, we can help. They nodded their heads eagerly, quivering in their boots with excitement. You want to help? Help was like a magic word to them. They nodded, knocking into each other. What's the mission? Yeah, what we gotta do? I hesitated. I didn't want to tell him what happened, but I couldn't not give him something to work off of. There was a bit of like graffiti over at the church. Hunters steaming about it. Some gutted up animals around the perimeter. If you hear about anyone bragging about that kind of thing, tell me. No one else, you hear? Just me. We get you. Hunter's gonna kill him, right? I faltered. The starkness of it stung. He might. We can be discreet. Don't you worry about us. I nodded, but despite their promises, worry started nagging at my gut. It wasn't so much them finding something out, rather it was someone knowing they were being hunted down. That kind of fear can drive you crazy. I'm sorry, my cursor's been over here this whole time. Jesus Christ. I'm down here forgive me, I am down here reading, so I am neglecting you folks that are watching me. For Christ's sakes, you think it's amateur hour. I need to go to bed. That kind of fear can drive you crazy, make you all twisted up. You might find you end up hurting somebody, like a deer caught in a bear trap, just flinging its weight about to get free. Twins started walking off as I trailed behind them. They shuffled restlessly, nudging each other as we walked aimlessly around the plaza. Listen, Runt, we gotta ask you a bit of a favor, seeing how you're a bit older and all. What's that? Surprisingly, Temple didn't say anything, but looked around like they were nervous, crossing their arms. You tell them, Church. Reading material? You know, some more adult stuff? Stuff we can't get at school? Come on, don't toy with him. He doesn't know what you mean. Tried to ignore the sting of those words. Temple came in close, lowering their voice. You know, that stuff. Sometimes doing stuff too, you know. Together. The way Church said together made me more grateful for my mass than I ever had been in my entire life. My face got so red, so fast, I felt like I was sticking my head into an oven. I've heard of it, sure, but I didn't know, I'd always heard it was the kind of thing where, you know it when you saw it. I've been keeping my eye out, but I don't think I'd ever seen any before. You think you might, see Red in your future? Huh? Gosh, Red, he's got a whole stash of mags, but he won't give them out to any of us. Saw a stash when we went by there on Saturday. Yeah, after we dropped off those cassette tapes from Miss Karn. That definitely got our brain moving up there. We've been trying to get someone else to get them, but nobody will borrow some for us. Except maybe you. I'll see what I can do. No way! Thank you, man. Just get a handful of anything. We can pay you back. We can trade you some secrets. Yeah, we know a thing or two. Really? Yep. Even about the Strayers. Despite their bouncing, giggling energy, I felt suddenly cold. My neck hair stood up. I had images of Hunter's fist coming at my head. Was he watching now? Mad that I was letting some scrap of news get away? I went to stop the twins, asked them what they meant, but they were gone. They sped off, bounding like dogs. They were into the muddy streets of Skipclaw. I realized then I hadn't asked if they had done it. It didn't seem right to. I doubted they did. They were young and dumb kids, but not that dumb to mess with our church. I felt that chill return. If they had done it, Hunter, no matter what, would kill him. He'd have no qualms about it. No reason would see him through the haze of anger he had. Nobody could stop him. As I watched him run off, the ache grew heavier and heavier in my heart. Please, God, don't let it be them. All right, well, that was this entire game is really, really wordy. I think... Oh, sorry. Oh, we can play with censored language. I didn't know that. Data is saved automatically. Okay, so we're... it's about time for us to clip it here, but I'm going to get us... We gotta go... Where should I go before my shift? We don't have any... We can't go anywhere. I have 0 hours before the shift. Does that mean we have to go straight to the shift? Proceed to your shift. You won't be able to explore the town once you start. Okay. I guess we'll go to the radio tower then? No, we can't. Or the shack? No, it's time for the shift. Okay. This should be a save point for us, folks. Today was Carver's turn to lead patrol. We'd start at the east gate on the other side of town and circle around, keeping an eye out for weird stuff and weak points in the wall. That wall was a real point of pride for us Strayers. Even I felt a little proud looking at it myself. But Carver, hell, the way he looked up at the wall, the swagger he got in his step, that talk of it, you'd think the thing was his idea and he built it with his own 2 hands. Hunter had been the one to command it built, and all of Skipclaw, every man, woman, and child able to hold a nail and hammer it in was the ones that built it. Not that such specifics mattered to Carver. The wall had been a Strayer idea, a Strayer-led project. Might as well have been him all the gratitude was going to. Skipclaw liked us after the perimeter, you see. Not just tolerated us. Gifts came pouring in for weeks. An entire side of pigs smoked to perfection. Good rich soap made with olive oil. A blueberry pie heaped with fresh whipped cream. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I got a bar of soap the other day in this box. It's like a beard soap, right? And it has olive oil in it. And let me tell you what, he's not joking when by listing good rich soap made with olive oil right next to an entire side of pig smoked to perfection in the apocalypse. That good rich soap, it is good rich soap. That stuff is awesome. If you folks out there have the opportunity or the chance to ever try out some soap with olive oil, try it out. Now, you didn't hear that from me, but you go, you keep that one in your back pocket. And even a little basket filled to the brim with lemon cookies. I love lemon cookies, man. I love lemon loaf. Oh, God, I still dream about those. Me too, buddy, me too. I must have been 10 or 11 about then. All of them sitting at the edge of our property. I'd never tasted something that sweet before, that full of sunshine or gratitude of gratitude of sugar. They'd been rolled in it, glistening and sparkling like sunlight on water. Carver loved the gifts, the attention, the newfound goodwill. He'd always been real friendly with the townies and either ballsy or stupid enough to tell Hunter to his face we ought to be more friendly with him. They sure were friendly with Carver. After that wall went up, if it wasn't Tanner attached to his hip, it was some towny girl, giggling and pawing at him like she was stupid. Which, well, if she had a crush on Carver, she was stupid. Carver was... Carver sucked! The dirt cracked under my boots as I made my way through town. People passed by doing their daily labors. I got a few nods as I passed through town, and the gun strapped to my back halted all the usual politeness beyond that. Didn't matter what mask I had on. They knew who I was, and just what that gun meant. As I reached the end of the road, I saw those yellow ears waving in the wind as my insides hardened up. God, I didn't want to spend the next few hours alone with him. The only thing that tempered the temper amount was Tanner, and Tanner wasn't here. If he'd been around, there was a small percentage chance that Tanner would be getting Carver's attention instead of me. But I was alone, and Carver's spirit was mean to its core. Always had been. He liked kicking you when you're down, talking over you, tearing into your stuff when you weren't there. He was pleased as punch when he got a good little lick at you. And if you wanted to stir something up, he went toe-to-toe with no hesitation. He loved to fight. He loved to fight with me. He could get under my skin like a cackling splinter. God, I hated him. The most infuriating thing of all was Hunter didn't care who Carver fought, where he went hiding when he was supposed to be working, or who he bragged about in town. He seemed to like Carver best out of all of us. Tanner liked him too, followed him around like a lost puppy, and would bloody anyone's nose for him at the slightest of provocations. Even helped him stitch up his stupid outfits. While Hunter's affinity for Carver was baffling, Tanner's made a sort of sense. He was a follower. Carver was a leader. Tanner was quiet. Carver did enough talking for the both of them. And it didn't hurt that they'd been born about an exact 9 months apart. Basically twins. They'd come up, crapping in the same diapers and all. Hard to mess with a bond like that. Bad to mess with a bond like that. But I'd made my choice, and I had to stick with it. I could sense Carver's crap-eating grin curling off him as I got close. That crooked smile under that stupid mask. God. Took your sweet time. The less I said, the better. I didn't want to give him an inch. Hey, I'm talking to you. You're standing entirely too close. He stalked over, started knocking on the top of my head with one fist like it was a door. Anybody in there? Hello? Knock it off. I pushed him away as he staggered back a step. Oh, we're fighting today. That it. He was ready to fight, keen for it. Only the slightest nudge would spur him into action. Okay. Do we antagonize? Or do we diffuse? Let's antagonize. Shut up, Carver. You POS. Carver came at me fast, but with that low right hook aiming for my stomach like he always did. I dodged easy, putting all my weight into my right foot and lunged. A vision so clear and beautiful in my mind of shouldering him hard enough to lay him flat in the mud. What I did not see was what I felt. His left arm hooking around my neck and squashing me into a headlock. Short sucker, you think you can take me? Oh, I don't have... we have to beg. Scoffed, disgusted. Wimp, can't even take some play fighting. He let go of me with a shove. I tripped on one of my own feet and landed face down in a puddle of mud. Carver busted out laughing like it was the funniest thing he'd seen all week. I tried to get up with as much dignity as I could. This cold, earthy mud seeped into my mask. I wasn't very successful. He started leading the way, shotgun thwacking against his back. I followed, disgruntled. I still wanted to punch him in the head. It wasn't until about halfway through our patrols when he noticed something funny. He stopped, turned towards the wall, and stood with his arms crossed and his feet apart like he was going to pee on the ground. Does that seem weak to you? Point a shotgun with its usual carelessness at the dead center of the wall. I didn't see nothing except for a little crack between the two panels. No, looks fine to me. Ah, look, that's kind of weird. You see that? Get up there, go check it. Fine. On you get. It was easier to just go along with it, humoring enough so he didn't have an excuse to come at me. Okay, no touching, it seems. Ah, it's actually a split in the wall. As ramshackle as the wall looked, this thing was a sturdy sucker. I hate that this looks like, look, 2 eyes and like a weird beaky nose. 2 eyes staring right into mine. Pareidolia comes out crazy in wood. You can see all sorts of faces. Made out of everything spare and scrap Skipclaw could spare. House side and plywood, old roof tin, 2x4s, 4x8s, every other dimensional wood you could think of. It towered at 12 foot easy. There was a crack in it, real slender like, about knuckle wide, nothing a twister could ever got through. Look, you think standing 4 foot away from it is looking? I leaned in and pressed my eye to the crack. There was nothing but black. My eyes didn't adjust, or maybe there hadn't been anything to adjust to. I squinted, trying to make shapes out in the darkness. Something did start to form, rising out of that sea of nothing. A pale shape, crooked and strange and branch-like? Oh. Carver! He was doubled over laughing, the little zipper on his mouth bouncing with each hawk of his head. In one lazy grip, he still held the branch like he'd been dangling over the wall. Ugh, you're a moron, boy. You made me. The way he laughed made me want to punch him. Shove him and his stupid mask between the slacks and start smacking the wall like a dinner bell. You could have poked my eye out. You're just too curious. Whatever, man. What's the thing about cats and curiosity? Curiosity killed the cat. He chuckled, then quick as lightning smacked me upside the back of my head. Quit wasting time. Get up. You can rub your rumpus as we walk. He started walking on, without me, still giggling. I trailed behind, my fists in tight balls. The next time we found something funny, it wasn't a joke. The wall near the north gate had a gaping huge hole in it, big enough for a full-grown man to crawl through. Now that's a hole. His voice held no fear. Infuriatingly, Carver sauntered out to sit under a nearby tree, letting out a real satisfied sigh as he settled against the trunk. He hunched over and began checking over his gun, waving at me with one gloved hand. Get to work, now. I put my hands on my hips. Don't make me tell you like you don't know how to do it. It's a hole. Fix it. I hated him. I hated how he handled that gun, polishing it as it lay across his lap. I didn't want to waste time starting an argument, and turned to fix the hole. Luckily, we kept quick repair kits on hand. Unluckily, too much sound attracted twisters, especially this close to the outside. I had to be real careful with the hammer, tapping as gentle as I could, and not too regular either. Even though I'd done it 100 times before, and 100 times over been okay, I still found myself dropping nails and forgetting to breathe. Carver, of course, started whistling. I looked back at him. He pulled a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. Forgot my matches. Where'd you get those cigarettes? Now normally, he'd yell at me for asking anything for him, anything at all. But here he just chuckled in that wheezy, lazy way of his. Well, lots of stuff can be hidden. You just gotta be at the right place at the right time. You stole it. Nah, well, maybe I stole something. Was it stealing if it was offered so willingly? I'm talking like Fisher now. As if that preacher knew the kind of fish I'm catching. I waved my hand, dismissing it. When he talked like that, it had sort of stink on it that I didn't care for too much. Come on, Carver. He chuckled and waved again at me. Hurry up. I welcomed the fumbling with nails after that, and soon enough the hole was patched up pretty good. There was a hole about as big as my fist, but the wood was too broke up to do much better. I looked back at Carver when I was done, not paying attention. Why didn't he care about this? It might have been a tight fit for a twister to come through, but He wasn't even a little alarmed. Wasn't even worked up about what happened last night. Carver. What? About yesterday. Speak up, can't hear you. I gritted my teeth. Next time I spoke, I shouted. Yesterday, man. What'd you think of it? Hey, quiet down. You want to alert all them in the woods? I had to land a punch on him before the week was out. If I could knock out a few of his teeth or break his pretty nose, even better. What do you think about yesterday? Yesterday? You mean the church? It's stupid. It's a prank. He stood up, wiping himself full of leaves and bark and whatnots. Did you do it? Do you think the townies did it? Do you think the creatures did it? Now, this just seems like antagonizing, but we are here to ask questions. That would get that question out of the way, but I don't think so. Do you think the townies did it? Must have been. I don't know what bone they got to pick with us. People didn't like Dad. But Dad's dead. Gone. He ain't no trouble to anyone now. So it's someone who's got a problem with one of us. With you? Oh, I ain't doing nothing. People think I'm just swell. I heard him smiling as he said it. Especially all them girls in town. I got them all on rotation, one each day of the week. They ain't got nothing to complain about. Especially... what? Forget it. Look, whatever it was, I don't care. Make up your own mind about it. I'm not here to babysit you while you think through it. Finish up and let's head back. He sat back down in silence and idly flipped his pack of cigarettes between his hands. He had no answers, so I let him sit in his sulking silence. I scrounged around for another old scrap of wood hiding somewhere in the grass, and tacked it best I could over the last little hole. Couldn't do much better than that. As I turned around to show Carver my work, I saw that he had left. Bored with working, or his version of it. With only the sound of the perimeter wall creaking ominously, with only the sound, and you see that there tripped me up. With only the sound of the perimeter wall creaking ominously behind me, I began to shuffle off home. I cast one last glance over the hole in the wall, its splintered mouth muffled by my new boards. Who'd made that hole? Could a twister have done it? Hunter would rain hell on me if he got wind I didn't figure it out. The dread made the clomping of my boots even heavier on the way home. Okay, there's our save. Very good. This is... First day wound down, digging itself into the cold earth to sleep. I had done what I could for Hunter's mission that day, asking questions, interrogating. My feet were sore, stomping back down home and then having to do my dinner and nightly chores. They all came home, exhausted from the day, and ate dinner wordlessly. Even Carver seemed too tired to start up a fight. It was an unspoken thing. What had happened in the church was finally settling on our shoulders, and God, it was a heavy weight. As I ate, standing at the counter, I stared at each of my brothers and wondered what they were thinking, wondering what was going on behind those masks of theirs. At that time, I didn't feel any closer to the answer. I suppose I still don't. My thoughts drifted to my shift. Carver was normal as could be, for him at least. He wanted to grind me into the dirt with his boot. His mind was a mystery to me, a swamp of perverted thoughts and murky intentions. He had no thoughts about the church, uncaring and flippant. What was strange was him mentioning he was seeing someone specific. I couldn't imagine the unlucky girl who was wrapped around his finger. Everyone left their dishes without a word, and I collected them, washing them under the single flickering bulb above the sink. I was so tired I swear I nearly dunked my head into the murky sink water. As I rolled onto my bed, bones aching and stiff to the core, I thought about tomorrow. That message haunted me. 5 days. Until what? I didn't know what it would bring. if I would ever get closer to a real answer about the church. I saw the guts, the flies, the ribbons of red across that place that had once been not a home, but something special. Not like good special, like big special, overwhelming special. If we were supposed to move past this, we needed an answer. But I couldn't think of how to get any answers. I panicked, looking around the room as if anything could help me. And funnily enough, something did. I had this old spy book, you see, a thriller, a real blood-pumping tale of international espionage, as the back cover claimed. Is he going to bring out one of the Bourne books of Robert Ludlum? I picked it up and flipped through the pages, rereading the dog-eared pages I had read countless times before, and grinned. The spy in the book wasn't especially strong or loud or commanding or nothing. He was just real smart, real clever with putting clues together and figuring out what needed to be figured out. I knew how they did all this. Putting together clues and whatnot. It wasn't that hard. You didn't need to be strong and powerful or anything. Just have a decent head on your shoulders. There was nothing stopping me from doing it myself. I rushed to scribble down everything I'd heard that day, marking out anything and everything that seemed suspicious or valuable. Soon I had a list of clues, and with them, the questions I needed to answer to pin the right person. Who could have done it? Where were they on the day it happened? How did they do it? Why did they do it? What would happen on the 5th day? If I could answer all these questions, I could show Hunter at the end of the week, and this whole thing would clear up. I sighed, laying back on my bed with a smile on my face. But the smile didn't last for long. I saw all that blood, all those guts in my mind. I might be able to figure it out, but somebody was going to get hurt for it. No matter how good I figured it out, no matter what I did, somebody was going to get hurt. And would it be my fault? I brought my journal up to my face and I looked at what I had written again. Clues and Conclusions Demo. At the end of the day, you will need to go over all you learned from your investigation, namely clues, and pair them together to create conclusions. These conclusions will help answer questions and rule out suspects. However, you have to put your solvent to the test in the full game as you don't have enough clues to make any conclusions right now. Look around in your journal and click the hand at the bottom when you want to head to bed. It's been a long day. Okay. Neat. So we did this. Nobody seems to know exactly who did it, but everyone's acting weird. Cherilise wanted to see Carver's weird. I'd say she's pregnant. Doc said I should talk to the twins. The twins begged me to get them porn mags. They said that they could trade me secrets. Could I actually bring myself to... We're going to steal them. The twins said Willie's being weird lately. I should see if anyone knows about Willie. Me, don't feel too much. Been flinching. All the same stuff. Same stuff. All right, brothers. Hunter, Tanner, Carver. You can read that for yourself. Townies, Cherilise. She hadn't seen Carver since Saturday. Doc. Nothing about him. Twins. Okay, so it is... Well, that's scary. It is the demo word, or the demo game, so we don't have any clear conclusions to draw, but nevertheless, we definitely have an idea, and we can put Carver's bizarre... we can definitely draw the conclusion that he is seeing Cherilise. Cherilise, is that how you say that? Cherilise? The words began to bleed together. Salt and oil seeped into my eyes, blurring it all to black smudges. I'd save my detecting for tomorrow. I put away my journal and curled up in bed, my mask tight on my face. I shut my eyes. My mind swirled to bitter images of guts, of blood, of blackness. Nightmare it is, huh? Oh, Jesus Christ. My eyes adjusted to the dark. Okay. I knew I was asleep at the time, but it was a distant knowing, a speck on the horizon in the back of my brain. Before me, shimmering and distorted, was a face. Haggard, sunken, buzzcut, short as anything. It was my face. I was staring at my own face. I tried to focus on it. I tried to smooth it out. Heat built up in my head, pressure crawling along the inside of my skull. The more I tried to focus to make that face look more like me, the more the pressure built and built and built. And then I exploded. Light burst across my face. Flames swept up and over me into a black sky, the reflection rippling over the surface of dark water. It was so bright, it hurt. Strange to feel pain in a dream. Something was watching me. Something just over my shoulder. But I couldn't turn. I couldn't move my head. The heat was too much. It was too hot. Too hot. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to wake up. I wanted to breathe. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. I don't have control right now. Oh, there's a... Jesus Christ. I shot awake. My heart pounded. My muscles sluggish. Something was wrong. My eyes were blurry. Bleary? Cool air washed over my face, catching the sweat. It wasn't a good cold, not even after the heat in the dream. It was too cold. I was too bare. My mask was off. Had I taken it off? Had I clawed it off in the heat of the nightmare? I didn't have time to answer that question. The light bulb above my bed had gone out, and the candle had burned down. I was exposed, vulnerable in the dark, and I wasn't alone. What the hell is that? Oh! Oh, that was it! Oh, okay. Huh, I thought we were going to have a little bit more time. I thought it was a bit of a fuller demo, but that was fantastic. Who can you trust? Who do you believe? Who did it? All these questions will be answered in 2026, says Grim Taste. Well, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. See, I'm sitting here thinking long term, and we didn't even get to see anything long term, but that was a lot of fun. That was that held my attention for a visual novel. I have never played a visual novel that I can remember in my life. And there was a lot of reading that went into this, but I can see the direction. It didn't feel difficult. The writing is very, very, very well done. Even with all the harsh language, which we can censor, but I'd like to give you the uncensored version, and I'll censor it myself so you can see like what emotions are supposed to be conveyed via these characters. It is extremely well written, and it sounds like, I've said before, I'm from, my corner of Appalachia here, and I don't have much of an accent like some of my peers might. But it I definitely have that twang in the back of my throat, and I will always have that. And you can definitely tell that this was written to sound, more southern. What I'm saying is that when I'm reading this, I feel like I gravitate towards a natural, I don't know, group of phonetics than like my standard speaking pattern, which is interesting. It's hard to do that when you write. So whoever wrote this is a very talented author. I say author, but very talented at writing. The language flows naturally. It feels very casual, which is something that struggles. I've seldom seen good writing like that, where dialogue feels natural, especially text-based dialogue. It's normally very blurry, and it feels forced, like people are trying to project too much. But this is so clean. It feels like five brothers raised by by a religious cult leader, the mouth of God. That's what it sounds like. It's very well written. They seem to have, relied on each other heavily. Seems like reading and learning and teaching are extremely important pillars in their lives. Okay, so that's just the text by itself. That's the prose itself. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. The visuals are fantastic. I love detective games. I love the idea of using your brain to figure out a mystery. I'm currently in the Pathologic 2 playthrough, which we're going to play through those. Part 6 of Pathologic is going to be coming out soon. I think everything's going to get pushed back a little bit this week. I don't know. We're going to do something. Like I said, I've been holding myself to this rigid schedule. I'm going to do what I want to do. We're going to complete every series that we've started. Nothing crazy's happening, but if you see more new stuff like this, for example, I wanted to play this. I saw this. I fell in love with it. I wanted to play it for the channel. I feel like I have a lot to say about it. But don't worry. If you have a series or something that you're looking forward to, it's still coming. I promise. Hail to the Rainbow included, even though I think I've cooled down long enough. Look Outside is getting skipped a week. It'll be back. But with all that aside, RUNT, this is awesome. I cannot wait for this to be a full, fleshed out title. I love the differences in the brothers. How each one has their own personality, and it's not just their personality through their dialogue and their actions, but it's also their unique outfits. I love that. I love this idea that everyone has to wear a mask. I love that they have built the in-game lore. They, instead of saying, instead of never mentioning why everybody's wearing masks and it just being part of it, it's written into the lore. It's coded into the game that they have to wear these masks because the dark creatures, the smokes, can get them. The vagueness when it comes to the enemies. They haven't shown us an enemy up close yet, which is absolutely incredible. The state of our dreams being something to consider, that's also incredible. We're going to have some dream interpretation, it seems. Getting to pick our own mask. This has a lot of really, really, really cool features. And this is just a demo. Like, I am so excited for this to come out now. Which, not to say I wasn't prior, but now I am over the moon to see more out of this particular game and dev. Phenomenal. I loved every second of it. Even if it was extremely wordy, which no harm, no foul. But it didn't feel like it. I mean, I've been recording for going on 2.5 hours now, and this just felt like a breeze. Like I said, the dialogue is so punchy and so tailored to the environment. You can really feel what this town's about, and like, who you can feel the divide between the Strayers and the Townies, as they call them. Oh my god, I could gush even further. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to put out. I might come back to this later on and play, or like before the shift started, and I mean, we could go through and take everybody out, all the other 4 brothers, or the other 3 brothers out on shift, and talk to the 2 other people in town that we didn't get to talk to, using foreknowledge. I assume if we talk to people in different order too, different things will happen. But nevertheless, when this comes out, we're doing a full playthrough of it. This was a lot of fun. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We have more content on the way, as always. Something for everybody, no doubt. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, games you want me to play, videos you want me to make, please let me know down below in the comment section. The comment section is the best way to get a hold of me. I read every comment individually. If you want to play RUNT, the demo, for yourself, that link will also be in the description. And remember to mind the gap, stalkers. Mind the gap. And have a good one.